to develop a application. Okay, so we need to develop a application. That application must be run in our any like in any operating system. It must be run smoothly, and we don't want to run a application on over a operating system. Okay, so why? Because the reason is simple. Yeah, sorry guys. I hope you can hear me, right? Yeah, cool. Yeah. So yesterday, just we have started with the Spring framework. Okay, so just we to know like why, like what is the purpose, like why usually people will go for the Spring. The reason is simple. Ultimately, like end of the day, we need to, as a developers, we need to write a program and develop an application, and that application must be run very smoothly. And it will not. It must provide a smooth way of running, and it should not put more pressure on the operating system and all. Okay, to design an application which will not give more pressure or will not be running on more operating system. Okay, so then we used to go with the this Spring framework. The reason is simple, like Spring framework will run on something called on our JDK. Okay, so Spring framework will be running on our JDK. So JDK will be installed in our system, operating system. Okay, so over that our Spring framework will be running. Okay, so whatever the application we are going to design or develop by using this Spring framework. Okay, so that will be running on our JDK, guys. And yesterday we have seen, okay, so yesterday we have seen how to create an object without, okay, so without using a new keyword for that particular class. And we have seen that, and I think like we have executed and we have seen, we have understand that. So we need to make use of and something called as like bean factory. There is something called as bean factory. By making use of this bean factory, we can create a object. So that's what, like yesterday in the yesterday session we have just gone through that. And we have seen, okay, so we have seen the like using the constructor we have tried to insert. Okay, so using the constructor we have tried to insert the value for a particular variable inside a class. Okay, so that's what we call it as technically constructor injection, guys. Okay, so that's what we call it technically, we call it as a constructor injection. Okay, now let us understand, what if in my class, if I have the helper methods like getters and setters are present, then how to initialize the value? Okay, so now let us understand about that. Okay, so I will just go for share the screen. Cool. So this is what, like yesterday we have yeah, setter injection, right? So this is what you can see, like yesterday in the yesterday session. Okay, so we have make use of this bean factory, and like bean factory basically it's an interface. It's helper class. We are making use of that helper class, and we have created a object for that. Okay, and if I check my spring.xml file, okay, so here we have been using the constructor. Okay, so we are trying to insert the values making use of the like constructor. Okay, so like we are informing my Spring framework. Okay, so Spring framework, so you need to create an object. The object is like of the student, the object type is of student. You need to create an object for that. But the thing is, like inside that we have a constructor. Okay, so inside student we have a constructor which it is a parameterized constructor. If we have a parameterized constructor, then the in like, okay, so if you have a parameterized constructor, then we need to inform. Okay, so we need to inform that, okay, so this is a parameterized constructor which accepts the parameters in this format. Okay, so first the id like integer value like 101, and the second the name it is going to accept sorry, the third it is going to accept the value. Okay, so this is how we have passing. Okay, so this is what we call it as like constructor. Yeah, so we are informing my Spring framework to create an object of that student and insert the values with through the constructor. So this is what like that technically we call it as a constructor injections. Okay, so using the constructor we are going to inject a values to that particular object. Okay, so similarly we have one more way, sorry, we need to know about this setter injection. So setter injection is nothing but like by the help of the helper methods which are present inside that particular class, we are going to inject the values. Okay, so now let us understand how we can perform that operation. What I'm going to do, I'm going to do where is the spring, yeah, so spring core xml. Okay, so in this DTO, okay, I'm going to create one more class. Let me go with the class. Yeah. So one second, one second. Okay. Okay, so let me go with the employee, or else like sorry, let us go with the car. Okay, so let us go with the car, and I will create a simple a class. So let me add members like okay, so private in ID. Okay, then I will go for adding the private string 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 brand. Okay, then I will go for private string. I'll go for like brand. After that, what is the value? Forgot, yeah, so model. Okay, then private price will be of double. We go with the double price. Okay, so these are the fields I will be having in my car class. Okay, so now let me create a no argument constructor first. Okay, so now let me create a no argument constructor in my class. And so then let me go for add the setters and getters for the fields. Okay, I'm going to add the helper methods like setters and getters. Yeah, so that's all. Now I'm ready. Okay, so this is ready. Now I need to inform my Hibernate. Okay, so I need to inform my Hibernate. Okay, say a Hibernate. So this is the my class. Okay, so this is the class where you need to create an object for that particular class. Okay, so you need to create a object for that particular class. So one, yeah, so once the object has been created and this is the values you need to insert. Okay, so to inform that, what we need to do, so just come to uh, my spring. Okay, so here we can yeah, so here what I'm going to do is just I will open a simple bean tag. Okay, so inside this bean tag I need to mention for which class the spring framework has to create a, or a spring IOC has to create a object. Okay, so the class is, that is car. Okay, so that is my car class. So let me copy a fully qualified name of this class. Okay, copy it, come back to my spring, and I will paste here. And then okay, so I have informed that okay, so this is the class you need to create an object. What is the reference variable for that class? That object has to be referred. Okay, so I need to inform that. Okay, so create a create an object and make this reference variable to point that object, so that whenever I required I can ask that okay, so give me an object which is referred by this reference variable. So automatically it will take that object and it will give back to me. Okay, so that is the scenario we need that reference variable. Now okay, so now let me create a reference variable. To create a reference variable we are making use of an attribute called as id. Okay, and I'm going to give the reference variable as like my car object. Okay, so my car object. This is how like we can create a object. If I create an object something similar to like this, and then 1 second I will close all the like yeah. See, okay, guys. So now, if I create an object of this car class, so definitely I will get an object because like I'm not using a parameterized constructor. Okay, so right, I'm going to get the object. So whether like the values will be set it for this object or not, no. Initially, like what are the default value for integer zero will be the string null 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 for double 0.0 the default values will be set it. Now I don't want the default values. Instead of that I need to set some values. Okay, so like let us go for set a details about the car like Tata's brand punch. Okay, so now in this car class we have a setter method. Okay, so if I want to inject using the setters. Okay, so or if I want to inject the values for that car object using the setters, then the spring provides. Okay, so the spring provides and tag. Okay, so under this bean tag we can make use of a tag something called as property. Okay, so we can make use of a tag something called as property. Okay, so in this property tag, okay, so one sec. Okay, so in this property tag, what we need to do? The thing is simple. Yeah, so in this property tag, what we need to do is, yeah, just we need to give the name. Okay, so name is nothing but like for which variable I'm trying to inject using the setter method. Okay, so I need to pass the variable name. So now let me come back to the car. The variable name is ID. Okay, so now I need to give ID. So ID. Then okay, so this is the variable. Now, what is the value I need to pass for that particular variable? So for that, we have an attribute, something called as like value. Okay, so I need to pass the value. Okay, so value I'm going to pass it. Not cool, right? So then, yeah, so I have set it the ID successfully. Now let me set the brand. Okay, so the variable name is brand, and let me set the brand, and I'm going to give the value, use the value attribute. So brand is as I said, okay, so the brand is Tata. Then let me use one more property tag, and let me set, okay, so the module. Okay, so I need to set the module. Okay, so the module for this Tata's brand. Okay, I'm going to give the module as car module as punch. So punch is the car module I would like to inject in this car object. Okay, then let me create one more property tag. The reason why, because like we have one more property to be inserted or to be injected, that is like price. Okay, so I need to inject a value for this price. Now let me inject it, price. Let me go for the value, and yeah, so the price for this punch is okay, so I'm going to give the price as okay, so it will be lakh. Okay, so I'll go with like 7 lakh. It is like 70,000, 7 lakh point zero zero. Fine. Now I'm giving a information. You can see I'm giving a information in such a way that to create a object for this my Spring framework. Okay, you can see here I'm informing. Okay, so a being sorry, a Spring a Spring IOC. whenever I'm trying to run the program, okay, so you need to create a object for this particular class. Okay, so you need to create a object for this particular class. That means the class is like the class name I am going to give it as a car. Okay, so you need to make it, so you need to create an object for this class particular car. So I am passing a fully qualified name. Using this fully qualified name, you need to go for create a object for this class. Once the object is created, use a reference variable called like my car obj and refer that object. Okay, so once that reference variable object has been created successfully, then go for making use the setters method which are present inside my class, and go for setters method sorry go for making use of the setters method which are present in my class and set the values or inject the values. Okay, so the setters method like will be for id, there will be a set id will be there. Okay, so it is going to use this set id and then it is going to inject the value as 101. Similarly for brand, it will be like set brand. Okay, so it is going to use this set brand method and it is going to inject the value as data. So for model, it is good, it will be having a like, okay, so for model, set model method will be there. It is going to invoke the set model method and then it is going to inject the punch. Then for price, there is will be a setter method like set price. So it is going to invoke that set price method and then it is going to inject the value. Finally, so guys, yeah, cool, fine, fine, not an issue. So now let me create an object and see like whether it is giving me the object or not. Okay, so what I'm going to do is on my service layer, I'm going to create a service class as test b. Okay, and let me add a main method here. Okay, so let me add a main method here. Now, anyone tell me like uh, how to, okay, so how to create like, okay, so how to get that object. Okay, the okay, or else I will only go with, okay, so not an issue. So just I need a reference variable. I copied that. Yeah. So first, to get an object like we are making use of that bean factory. If I want to make use of that bean factory, I need something called as resource. Right. I need something called as resource. I need something called resource. Resource is equal to, so we have an implementation class, something called as class path resource. So let me invoke that and pass the XML file name here. Okay, so the pass the XML file name. The XML file name I have given as my string dot XML. Yeah, yeah, cool. Then let me go for create a bean factory. Sorry. So bean factory, uh, bean factory equal to create a bean factory. We have a helper method. Sorry, helper class XML bean factory which accepts resource. You can pass that. Now using this bean factory, I can invoke a method get bean, okay, and I'm going to pass the reference variable for that bean. So it will basically returns the object. Okay, so it is going to returns me the object. So let me collect that. Uh, I will go for downcasting to an car object. Yeah. So then I will be declaring a reference variable called car and refer this object. Then let me invoke some SOP statement and try to display. Okay, so I'm going to try to display that. Okay, So I will be having a method string. Okay, so just I will write car id equal to, I'll go with here car dot getter method and I will invoke the get id. So similarly, I will go for get the car model. Okay, so sorry, first car brand I can invoke from brand. Sorry. So similarly, I need to get the model. Okay, so now let me get the model. So let me get the model. Okay, so to get the model, I need to invoke that get model. Then the last one is price. Okay, so invoke the price method. Good. So now we are getting the car details. Okay, so let me add one more SOP statement stating that car details. So now let me show you, execute and show you. So what? Okay, so sorry. One second, sorry. I will share the screen. What happened really? Just give me. Okay, what happened? Sorry. Okay, guys. I hope now you can see the screen, right? Yeah, cool. Okay, so now let me run this run as Java application. Yeah, so I'm getting the details. Okay, so car details like car ID is 101, brand is Tata, model is Punch, and the price it is giving me. So it means like okay, so this is how we can make use of the setters, like setter method. Yeah, we can make use of the setters method and we can perform the operation. Okay, so this is like see. So if you want to go with the setter injection, then there is a tag something called as property, or there is a like yeah, so tag. We can call it as a tag. Okay, so there is a tag called as property under my beam tag. So I need to make use of this tag property tag, and I can go for inject the values. Yeah, XML bean factory is deprecated. Guys, shall I go for the next example? I hope everyone executed this one. Yes or no? Everyone is spending with the thing. Did you guys? You need to execute and see. Okay, then only we'll be getting to know. Okay, so how to go for configuration and all. Okay. Then okay, guys. See, the bean factory is deprecated. Sorry, not bean factory. XML bean factory is a deprecated class. Okay, to overcome from that, to like now which is the class. Okay, so what is the interface like? Which is the classes are there, which we can use and create the beans for us. Okay, so we can inform the get the beans. Okay, now I will create one more class. Let me create a one more class test e add a main method. Okay, now so now there is something called as like again we have again an interface, something called as like application context. One second. Application context. Okay, so it is an sub interface of my bean factory. Okay, so and application context is an sub interface my bean factory. Okay, so now we can make use of this. Okay, so we can make use of an object of this. Sorry, we can go for make use of this application context. Okay, they didn't provide any like classes to overcome from that XML bean factory. Instead of that, they have declared an sub interface for the bean factory known as application context. Okay, so now we need to create an object for this application context. Okay, so basically like this is a application context is an interface. We are not able to create an or we are not supposed to create an object for this application context. We are unable to create an object to create an object for the application context. They provide an implementation class, something known as class path application context. Okay, so class path application context is a an implementation class that have been provided by this Spring guys. Okay, so here you can see we have application context parent, or else like we can pass the string configure location. Okay, so application path application xml application path xml sorry class path xml application context is a implementation class for the application context. Okay, so class path xml application context is an implementation class for the application context interface. Okay, so here we if I want to create an object. Okay, so here I need to pass that the configuration file. Okay, so where that configuration file is exist, I need to pass that one. Okay, so now let me give the configuration file as the configuration file we have made is like my spring.xml. Let me pass that my spring, sorry, spring. Make sure that spellings are right. XML. Okay, so this is the configuration file where I made the configuration for this the configuration which is given for my Spring framework to create the object. Yeah. Now, if I want to get the car object, okay, so this is the reference variable, right? We are making use of it. Okay. So this is the reference variable I'm making use of it. Now let me get that object. Okay, so to get an object, I said application context is an sub interface of Bean Factory. Then in this application context, we will be having a method called get bean. Again, yeah, so same name. Okay, so get bean is a method which returns me an object. Okay, so now I will pass the reference variable for that object, and this get bean is a method which was present under the so basically like which was present in, you can see, so it is present in Bean Factory. Okay, now we are making use of this application in context. Application context is a sub interface of Bean Factory, guys. Okay, so we can make use of this and we can perform the operations. Okay, now same process. Okay, so I need to go for downcast it. I'm going to downcast it to car. Let me go with the car. Okay, and I will create a reference variable for car, and I will refer that. Okay, so then the same messages I will copy from this and I'm going to display on display in this class. Let us see whether we can make use of this or not. The implementation which I have provided is right or wrong. We will see. Okay, I'm going to run this program. Yeah, I'm getting the same output. Okay, so I'm getting the same output. Okay, so let me change. Okay, so car details from application context context interface. Okay. And now let me run this. Yeah. So I'm getting the output. This is output from the car details from application context. Yeah. So I'm getting the output. You can see. So what are the changes I have done? The changes what I have done is simple. Okay, so instead of using that Bean Factory interface, I went with its sub interface known as application context. As I'm using this sub interface application context, so for this we have an implementation class, something called as class path XML application context. So which accepts the location, the configuration file location or the configuration file name. Okay, so the configuration file name will be expected for this method. Sorry, for this constructor. So then we can use the same get bean method of the bean factory and invoke our whatever the bean we require. Okay, so this is how we can overcome from that XML bean factory, like deprecate that XML bean factory. Okay, so guys, do you have any doubts here? Execute and see, execute and check whether you are getting the output or not. Let me know once you are done with that. Hey, I want to know. Karthik, uh, you're getting an exception. So it is saying invalid property price of bean class car. Bean property price is not a writable or as an invalid sector method. Do you mean price? It is asking. See the spelling. I think like the spelling mistake or something is there. Just go through that. Karthik, you need to sort it out. Okay, so just get that. Where I was. Check the reference variable name. And Rajalakshmi, I think like you also get the same, like you are also getting that error getting a bean with the name my car object. The reason may be like the same thing. Okay, so check the property. Okay, so you guys need to check where I was. Okay, so you guys need to check in my spring. Okay, so so the name, okay, of the variable, what is the name I am going to pass, that must be same as that in your classes. Okay, so guys, now let us see an example. Okay, now let us go for an example. Now assume that I have a class. Okay, so I will create an class under my DTO. Let me create a class. The class name is something called as computer or as like, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to create a class. something called as computer. Okay, and I will create one more class. The class name I'm going to create is USB. Okay, I'm going to create one more class, something called as like USB. Okay, so this is the implementation, guys. Now, what going to do is in my computer class, let me have a reference variable of this USB. Okay, so I'm going to create a reference variable of this USB in my yeah, so in my this computer class. One side. Okay, and then I will use a simple setter method. Okay, so I will use a simple setter method to set the value for this USB. Yes, I'll go for only okay, so let me have like both setters and getters. Let me have, not an issue. Okay, so I will use a setter method to set. Okay, I will use an setter method to set the value. Okay, so of that USB, and then let me create a method. Okay, so now here let me create a method in my computer class. The method I'm going to write, or the public method I'm going to write is displ display. Okay, and I will add a message. Hey, I am in computer class, or else I am in computer. Okay, I will add a message like I am in computer. And let me create one more method in my USB. Okay, so I'm going to create one more method in my USB. One sec. Yeah. So in USB, what I'm going to create a method. That's it. Let me create a method. The method I'm going to give it as connect. Okay, the method name I'm going to give it as connect. And here, let me give a message stating that so USB is okay. So USB is connected. See, here what I've done is simple. Okay, so I'm going to show you the example of as a relationship, guys. Okay, so I hope you know about this as a relationship. Can you tell me like what is as a relationship? Guys, I want anyone to explain me what is as a relationship. Then only I will continue the process, or I will next. Then only I will explain the next thing. See, as a relationship is nothing but you can see here. Okay, so this will be the best example for as a relationship, guys. Okay, so this will be the best example we can say. See, computer as USB object. Okay, so in the computer object, so computer object will be so inside that we will be having a reference variable, or like we can say, so computer class is having a reference variable of USB. Okay, so so this relationship we call it as a relationship. Okay, so computer as a USB object. Okay, so we can say that, so they, if there is a relationship between a class to class, okay, so for example computer class, so in this scenario the computer class will be having a reference variable of the USB class. So in other way also you can explain. Okay, so suppose if class A as a reference variable of class B, then this type of relationship we call it as a relationship. The reason is, so class A object will as the class B's object referred by the reference variable which is present in that class A. Okay, so as the relationship is nothing but, okay, and computer as USB reference variable, our computer object will be referred, so computer object will be having a reference variable which is referred by the USB object. Okay, so there must be a relationship between these two classes. Okay, you can see here, that was the thing. Okay, now okay, so yeah, what I'm going to do is, so I'll just use this reference variable USB and I will call it connect. Okay, I'll just make use of this reference variable and I will call this connect. Let me add no parameter constructor inside my class. So go for deselect. Let me add it. Yeah. Okay. Now I need to inform my, okay, so I need to inform my, yeah, so now I need to inform whom, yeah, so I need to inform a Spring IOC container. Okay, so you need to create an object for this particular computer. The thing is like, okay, so in the computer class we have a like the computer and USB as a relationship. Okay, so now you need to inject the USB object, that reference variable to my this you the reference variable which is present in my computer class. Okay, so if I want to inform that, okay, so first I need to have that USB object. Okay, so first I need to create a USB object, then I can inform my Spring. Okay, so while creating the computer, you can inject this object to this reference variable. Okay, so now let us see the implementation, guys. So let me open this my Spring, yeah, my Spring XML configuration. Okay, so here what I'm going to do, so the same thing, I will open the bean tag. So inside this, now I need to create an object. Okay, so now as I said, I need to like if I want to create a computer object, then so inside that computer object, like we will be having that reference variable USB. Then I need to inform my Spring container too. Okay, so for this reference variable, you need to inject the USB object. If I want to inform that, so before creating an object of the computer, the USB object must be exist, right? So first, let me inform my Spring. Okay, I'm going to give the class. So first, let me inform my Spring to create the USB object. Okay, so to do so, I'm going to make use of a reference. I'm going to get the fully qualified name of the USB class, and that will be inserted here. Then I will use a reference variable. Okay, so I need to give a reference variable. So the reference variable as ID equal to, now I need to give, I'm going to give the reference variable as my my USB obj object. Okay, I need to give a reference variable as my USB object. I have given the reference variable as my USB object. Yeah, so that's all. Then this is done. Now then let me go for create a bean for my bean for my which computer class. Okay, so bean for computer class. Yeah, to do so I need the fully qualified name. Let me copy that fully qualified name. Okay, and come back to my spring.xml configuration, paste it here. Then as usual give a reference variable, sorry, give a reference variable for that. Okay, I'm going to give the reference variable as like my computer computer object is the reference variable. And guys, did you notice that what I'm doing is, yeah. So guys, did you notice that in my computer class I am going with the helper method like setter methods, right? I have the setters and getters. Okay, now I hope you guys know how to perform that, like use the setter method. So will you execute and tell me whether you guys can create an object of, like you guys can create an object of that computer and not? Will you try? You just give it try. Okay, so I'll give 5 minutes of time. So in 8:15 I will, then if you're not getting, then I will show you. Okay, just give it try. And then sorry, sorry, guys. Here the as a relationship is there. Okay, so we need to give an object. Okay, so reference. Okay, so just once one thing I will tell you, then you can go for create an object and you can see. Okay, so same the property and the name we need to mention. Okay, so the same thing we need to use the property, and we need to so we need to mention the name. Okay, so that is like computer. Guys, just look into here. Okay, so the same thing, USB reference variable. And after that, so previously we used to pass the value from here. Okay, so now instead of passing the value, we need to pass an object, or we need to pass an object, right? So then, so if I want to pass an object, my Spring container, okay, so it is going to provide me a thing. Okay, so at attribute something called as reference. Okay, so this reference is basically used to, okay, so basically used to refer an object. Okay, so this reference is basically used to like refer this variable. Okay, so must be referred to the object which is referred by this reference variable. That is the thing. Okay, so here I need to pass this my USB obj. See what I'm doing. So what I'm doing, or what I'm doing, or what I'm informing to my this. Yeah, so what I'm informing to my Spring IOC is simple. I'm informing my Spring IOC. Okay, so you need to create, in this we have a setter method for USB reference variable. For this setter method, you need to pass an object which is referred by this reference variable. Okay, so this is the information I'm giving. So I'm informing my Spring IOC container. Okay, so like whenever you are going to create a computer object, so there is a variable called as USB. For that, setter method is there. Just invoke that setter method. So in that setter method, you need to, so I have some values has to be passed for the setter method, right? So what is the value? So you need to pass a value which is referred by this reference variable. So this reference variable is referred an USB object. You need to pass the USB object. I'm informing that one. Okay. Now let me go for create a class. Okay. So test f. Okay. Add a main method. And let me create the same. Okay, so go for application context equal to create an object of this application context, we are making use of this class path xml configuration and passing the configuration file name. The configuration file name, we have something called as my spring dot xml. Done. Okay, done. Now so I need to get an object. So which object I need to get? Let me get the object of get bean. Okay, so get bean of my computer. My U. What is the reference variable I have given now? And to make sure that the reference variables must be taken or pass it this one only. Let me check my name. Okay, finally. So I need to get this. So this will provide me an object of type which one computer. Let me create a reference variable of computer. Computer computer equal to, let me go for downcast it. Yeah. So then let me invoke that method display. Okay. So internally this display method will invoke the connect method. Okay. So let me run and show you. Yeah. So let me run and show you this how this is working. Now I'm going to run as a Java application. Yeah. So I got a message. Okay. So I'm in computer. USB is connected. Right. I'm in computer and USB is connected. I got an output. So this is what the output we expected, right? So this is how we can go for as a relationship in my Spring IOC also. I hope you guys got an idea regarding this. Friday, Thursday. Mm. Yes or no, guys? You got an idea like how to go for as a relationship here? Yeah, yeah, I'm here only, guys. Not an issue. I'm just waiting for you guys to execute and see. Please take a screenshot of this computer as well as take a screenshot of this USB. Okay. Guys, like one more way of creation of an object is there, that is like by using an annotation way. Done, guys. Take a screenshot of it Yeah, I will show you. First, take a screenshot of this computer class. Take a screenshot of this USB. Then this one. Take a screenshot of this one. Okay. And take screenshot of this also. So this is the configuration we need to do. Go for it. Take a screenshot. Done. Okay. So now let me show one more way of create an object. Like this is the configuration we have used, right? So let me create one more project. Okay, so I'm going to create a one more project, guys. You also follow the same thing so that you can refer it whenever you require. I'm going to create a new Maven project. Okay, I will go with a simple, create a simple Maven project. Click next. I will give the group ID as edu.jsp. Okay, so edu.jsp and artifact ID I'm going to give it as so Spring Core. The name I will be giving as annotation. So I'm going to give the name as annotation. Okay, so I'm going to give the project name as Spring Core. Okay, so this is like basic of Spring we are going to learn. Okay, so this is the basic of Spring we are going to learn, guys. So just go with the project name as Spring Core annotation. Okay, then I'll click finish. Wait until unless your project get started. Okay, so wait until unless your project got started get started. Okay, then so inside this like we need to add the Spring dependency. What is that? We need to add the Spring dependency as this one. The dependency we need is Spring context. So just copy from your previous project, from the XML project, add it in your form.xml. Okay, so add that in your form.xml file. So this is the one dependency we need to add so that we can deal with the Spring framework. Okay, so the dependency tag dependencies. Okay, so inside this we need to add our dependency. So inside the dependencies we need to add our Spring dependency. Yeah, now done. Okay, so the Spring dependency has been added successfully to my project. Now what I'm going to do is, okay, so I said like instead of using this XML configuration, okay, so instead of using this XML configuration, let me go for, okay, so now let me go for create or let me go for use the annotations and perform the operation. Okay, so now let me create a class. What I'm going to do, I'm going to create a class. The class name I will give it as, let me go with the class as, okay, so now let me go with the class as cow. And I'm going to create a package edu.jsp.spring for annotation. Annotation dot. So these are the DTOs. So I will go with the DTOs package name and click finish. Okay, so in this I'll be okay. So in this class, let me have a method. Okay, so I'm going to create a method. Public method. I will add a public method. The method name I'm going to give as print. So let me change the uppercase to yeah, print. And I will just add a message. Okay, so I'm going to just add a message. The message I'm going to give it as cow is eating, or else having breakfast. You can go with it's a cow is eating. This is the message I will be giving. Okay. Now I don't want to go for the configuration. Okay, so I don't want to go for the configuration. Instead of like, I don't want to go for the configuration like, I no need to give the fully qualified name and no need to give the reference variable and all. So now I need to use an annotation and perform the operation. Okay, so for that, Spring provides us an annotation, something called as component. Okay, so Spring provides us an annotation, something called as component. Just use that annotation component on your cow class. Okay, so use that annotation component on your cow class and then save. But also, like, we need to go for one configuration. Okay, so only one configuration we need to do. That is like we need to add our that configuration file to our system. Okay, so and then we need to mention. Okay, so from which package and all the objects can be created. That information I need to provide. So why? Because like, yeah, so I'm using an annotation component. That is fine, not an issue, not a big deal. Okay, but the Spring will not get to know. Okay, so in which package? Okay, so in this project, that's fine. So in which package user declared an annotation component, it has to go and see. Then only it is going to create an object for that. Okay, to inform that, again I need that configuration. So in this, we will be going for one configuration. I'm going to create a new. Click on other, just search for XML. Okay, and here I'm going to select this XML file. So what I've done, I'll right click on the src main Java. Okay, then go for the new, and then I click on this other, and I just give a search for XML. I hope everyone received this XML folder. Okay, under this we have a XML file. Select that, click next. Okay, and now let me give a name. I'm going to give a name as my same Spring. I'm going to give the name as my Spring. Click finish. I hope everyone created the XML file under my src main Java. Okay, so now I need to add the configuration thing. Okay, so what is the configuration thing? So in the previous session I have shared the GitHub link where the configuration is present, right? Where the configuration is present, just I will share once again the GitHub link. Bean XML file is there. Okay, I will share the link. Just copy that. I'll be sharing in the broadcast, guys. Just click on that link. If you click on that link, it will be redirected to a GitHub page where you can get a file like something like configuration beans tag. Everything is there. Just copy that beans tag. Okay, so just copy that beans tag. Okay, so this will be the beans tag will be present there. Copy and add to your my spring.xml file. Okay, so add to my spring.xml file. I hope everyone added the configuration file, configuration thing, or the bean. Okay, so this tag beans tag has been added to everyone. Okay, so here just one configuration we need to do. That is, we have a tag, something called as context component scan. Okay, so we have a tag by the name as context component tag. Okay, so guys, how to take that one? Just simple. You can do something like this. Okay, so after this www.springframework.org schema context spring context and all, just click enter. Okay, so here go for write is as C and use the control space. Write C, use control space. Okay, so first write C, use control space. So it will give the multiple option which are exist with respect to C. So here select the second one, context component scan, and click enter. So automatically this tag will be added to your XML configuration file. Okay. Now I need to give the base package. Okay, so it is asking me the base package. So that is nothing but, so I am informing my Spring IOC container. Inside this package, I will be declaring the classes. For all the classes, you must create an object for all these classes. You must create an object for all these classes. Okay. So what is the package? The package is spring edu.jsp.spring annotation.dto. Okay, so now let me copy this package name. Okay, so I'm just right clicking on that and copying it, and let me add it here. Okay, so now I will just go for removing the DTO. Okay, so yeah, let's okay, so we can have that DTO also, not an issue. We can remove or we can have nothing, not an issue. So here, what I'm informing my Spring IOC container, I'm informing my Spring IOC container simple. Okay, see, this is the base package. Okay, so inside this, I will be having multiple classes. Okay, so here in this time, for this time, I have only one class. Okay, so in future, like maybe I will be having multiple classes. You must create object multiple like you must create an object for all the classes which are present under this package. I'm giving an information that. Okay, then okay, so yeah, so it will automatically create. Okay, so now let me go for create a new one more package. I'm going to create a one more package. Instead of DTO, I will go with service. Okay, and then let me create a class under this. I'm going to create a class. I'm going to create a class. The class name I will get as test A. Okay, then I need to get that. Okay, so I will just go with the main, adding the main method here. Now, sorry, I need to get the object of the cow. Okay, so now I need to get the object of cow. So how can I get the same procedure which we have done in the previous session? Okay, that is using application context. The application using application context. Okay, so is equal to new class path XML application context. Okay, so class path XML application context which accepts the configuration file. So here the configuration file is again sorry, my spring dot xml is the configuration file, right? So this is the configuration file of my project. Okay, cool. Then so using this application context dot get bean. Okay, so now I need to pass the bean name. But the thing is, like, we didn't give any reference variable, right? We didn't give yes or no, guys. I need an answer. Okay, so did we give any reference variable for this cow class? No. But how can I like now? How can I inform? Okay, so give a object which is referred by this reference variable. It is like tricky, right? Yeah. So, but if we are not passing any reference variable, like if you are using the annotation, okay, so if I'm going to make use of the annotation and I'm not passing any reference variable, then my Spring IOC is a smart. Okay, so it's a smart. It is going to create an reference variable of the class. What is the class name I given? The same with lowercase. All the alphabets will be lowercase. It is going to create a reference variable as cow in all the lowercase. Okay, then it is going to create an object. Okay, so now let me go for COW equal to type COW. Okay, I just go for downcast and added the create a reference variable as cow. Okay, and now let me invoke that using this cow reference variable. Now let me invoke that print method and see whether I am getting an output like cow is eating or not. Okay, so just right click on it and run this, and I'm seeing. Okay, yeah, I got an output cow is eating. Then my Spring created an object of cow and referred by a reference variable as cow only, but in all the lower cases. Okay, see, I'm not directly informing. Okay, so means like I'm not giving any like this class only you need to create an object, or this is the reference variable. No, I'm not mentioning that one. But like I'm just informing my Spring under my DTO package what are all the classes are there. You must create an object for that particular class. Okay, so that is the information I'm passing. and see how I'm getting the output. I'm getting the output means like object is created, then only the application like get beans method can return me an object which is referred by the cow. That is the reference variable cow I have passed. I'm getting output. That means like object has been created, referred with the reference variable as cow with lower cases cow, and then I'm getting that object and I'm trying to invoke the print method. Print method is a like non-static method, so we need object and all, right? So what I've done here, I've done a simple thing. Just on the class, I'm using an annotation, something called as component. Now let us understand what is the use or why we need to mention the component. Okay, so component is an annotation. Okay, so okay, so the annotation component, okay, so will be used to inform my Spring IOC container. Okay, so like okay, so to inform my Spring IOC container, so at any cost you need to create an object for this particular classes. Okay, so that is the reason. Okay, and to inform that, okay, so these are the classes also present under my so in this Spring project, so these are the classes will be present. If anyone requests a particular class, okay, I don't want to get that class not found exception. Okay, so so I don't want to get that class not found exception. Spring IOC must understand, okay, so there is a class. Okay, so inside this we have a class. So see if anyone is asking, okay, so we need to give the like we need to inform the some message. If I'm asking the fully qualified name, okay, so if annotation is like component is there, then it is going to fetch that and it is going to give me the fully qualified name and all. It's just like now in this process, like we are talking about the creation of an object. So whenever I'm going to asking my bean, okay, so here you can see in the test class test A, I'm asking the application context. Okay, so I'm invoking the bean get bean method to get an object of the cow. So at that time, my Spring IOC container must provide me an object of the cow. If the class exists, then only it is going to create an object. So that is the reason. Okay, so I need to inform my Spring IOC container. Okay, so there is a class called cow. You need to go and create an object for it. So just to the information I have given. Okay, so instead of that XML configuration, I'm giving the command as component. Okay, so what I've done here, that's simple. I've declared a class, simple class called as cow, and use an annotation called as component. And inside that, I've just declared a method. Okay, so guys, take a screenshot of it. Take a screenshot of it. Okay. Once the class everything is declared successfully, then I went with my the configuration file, and in this configuration file, I'm going to add it, or I'm going to give a configuration something called like context and component scan. Okay, so context. So this is the component scan. So the base package. So where my all the necessary classes which are required to create an object, or I will be using for, or I will be using those classes object will be present under this package. I'm going to inform this will be the my base package. Under this, whatever the classes are there, so for all the classes I may require an object. Okay, so that is the reason I'm informing. Okay, so the package is nothing but like edu.jsp.spring core annotations.dto. Okay, so under this package, whatever the classes are there, for all the classes, I may require an object. So my IOC, whenever I'm going to give a request, at the time it will be creating an object from under this package. It is going to check, okay, so whether cow class is present in the under this DDO package. If it is present, it is going to create an object. Else, it will throw class not found exception. That's all. Okay, so that is the configuration I've done. Then the same previous step, by using the application context, I'm going to get the B. Okay, Vijay, if you're like you're getting that exception, no being named cow, fine. Just check the base package, the package name. Okay, this must be okay. The package name. What is the package name? You, sorry. One second. Dole guru, 1 second. Okay, so the package name, your base package name you're mentioning, that must be this one. Okay, so the package name you are given, that one has to be given to the base package. Guys, try to execute and check. And guys, this the configuration file must not be under any packages. Okay, so that must be present under this src main Java only. Okay, under the src main Java only, the package must be present. Okay, or sorry, the configuration file must be present. ಏನಮ್ಮ error? Okay, who are the group like they have sent them? Yeah, one second. Yeah, okay, guys, who are sent them in the group like they are sending a pic. It is giving a message stating that class path resource spring myspring.xml cannot be opened because it does not exist. Make sure that you have created the myspring.xml under the src main. Okay, no need to create under this DTO and all. Okay, so if you are the file is present under the DTO, take and drop it on the src main Java. Okay, it must be provided under the src main Java. Then only my application. Okay, so class path will be fetch that and it can read the file and operation will be done. Yes. Okay, so guys, I want you guys to create a class, something called as bird. Okay, so create a class, something called as bird, and just add a method fly and display a message. Okay, so bird is flying. Will you do that one? Okay, so create a class, something called as bird under the DTO package. Okay, so create a class something called as bird, 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 and use annotation called as at the rate component. Okay, and inside this create a method, sorry, method as fly. Create a method as fly, and then just go with add a SOP statement as bird RD is flying. Bird is flying. So try to create an object of this particular class and execute and see. I'll be here. Okay, so take few minutes. No need to configure. So now we don't need to configure anything. Just I need to create application context. Like so, yeah, object for the application context by using the helper class like class path XML application context. Pass the configuration file there and pass a reference variable. Invoke the get mean. Pass a reference variable and get that. That's all. So once you are done, let me know. If you are not getting, then I will show you the output. And guys, one more thing, I want everyone to download something called as Postman. Okay, I want everyone to download something called as Postman. One sec, I will share the browser. There you can get it to know. Okay, cool, fine, cool. Yeah. So I hope you can see my browser. Okay. So here in the Google, just search for Postman. Postman, something called as Postman. We need this. Okay. So Postman, download Postman. Click on this. I will share the link, guys. You can download that one. Okay. Just go for download the Windows. Okay. So whatever the version like 64-bit, 32-bit, which are the is there, just go for it and click on this download. It will be downloaded to your system. I want everyone to be download this Postman and come to the next session. I'll be sharing the link. Go through that and get it done. Yeah, for Ubuntu also like Postman, it provides not Linux. It is there for Ubuntu also. It is there, not an issue. Prem, for Ubuntu also it is there. You can just make use of it. Anyone? Okay, so okay, I need to show execute and show you this one, right? Yeah, cool, good guys, good, good. Keep it up. Let me show. Let me go for create one more test class. I will go for create a test B, okay, and I will add a main method. Yeah. So here, what I need to do is simple. So what I need to do, I need to get the application context object. Yeah, to get an object for this of type application context, we are making use of its helper class. That is class path XML. Okay, so and here we are passing the configuration file name. The configuration file name is my spring.xml. This is the configuration file name, right? So here you can see my spring.xml. This is the configuration file. Okay. Now, using this application context reference variable, I'm going to invoke a method, something called as like get bean, okay, and which accepts the string argument. Okay, so I'm passing an argument. Okay, now I need to create a object for the bird, bird, bird. Okay, then I need to, yeah, now, yeah, I have created. Okay, so now what I need to do? I need to do, yeah, I need to get that bird object, bird. So I need to go for downcast it because like the return type of this method, return type of this get bean method is object. So I am just downcasted from object class to bird class, and then I will try to invoke that uh, dot fly method. Let me see whether I'm getting the object and all. Run. Yeah, I'm getting a message like bird is flying. So simple, right? Yeah, guys, you just need to download. Then I will tell you like how to run that one, how to install that. I will tell you like no need, just double click on that. Automatically, that applications, that software will be running. Not an issue. That's all. Okay, fine. So this is how we can create an object for that bird class. I didn't go with any configuration, just one annotation component. That's all, and only one configuration that has been done in the previous example. Okay, so that's all for today, guys. If you have any questions, you can ask here, or else like I will end this session. Have a nice day. Guys, do you have any questions here? ಯಾರೋ ಕೇಳಿದ ಗುರು ಪಾಪ. Code. Okay, I will do one thing. Okay, so guys, I'll just create a zip file of this both the project, and I will share the code in the classroom. Okay, so I will be sharing the zip file, not the Word document and all. Just download that and unzip it. All the codes will be available. You can go through it. Okay. Okay. So that's all, guys. Have a nice day. I'm going to end this session. Bye. Take care.